Steam billows from the kitchen, curling around the clatter of pots and the sharp sizzle of searing meat. The air is thick with the scent of garlic and butter, but beneath the intoxicating aroma lies something sharper: stress. Orders fly in rapid succession, and the waitstaff scrambles to keep up. In the middle of the chaos, Daniel Carter, the billionaire owner of La Belle Maison, moves unseen, disguised in a stained apron and a cheap name tag that reads Derek. Sweat beads on his forehead as he grips a mop, his back aching from hours of scrubbing floors. For the first time in years, he's reminded of the weight of real labor, the kind he once knew before he built his empire. He hadn't come here to play pretend. He had come to see the truth. A sharp voice snaps through the air. "Jake, table 5 has been waiting for 10 minutes. Move faster." Daniel's gaze flicks toward Jake Sanders, a young waiter no older than 22, his uniform slightly wrinkled, his shoes scuffed at the edges. Despite the obvious exhaustion in his eyes, he offers the manager a quick nod and hurries toward the waiting guests. Daniel watches, intrigued. While other employees cut corners, Jake moves with precision. He refills water glasses before they're empty, apologizes for delays before customers can complain, and somehow manages to keep a warm smile despite the relentless pace. Yet, no one seems to notice. The restaurant manager, Thomas Grayson, looms near the bar, arms crossed, watching Jake with an impatient scowl. Daniel sees it instantly. The way Grayson singles Jake out, the way his words carry an extra bite when directed at him. Then it happens. Jake, balancing a tray of drinks, pivots sharply to avoid a passing chef. The tray tilts, and a glass tumbles off the edge. The sound of shattering glass is immediate. The restaurant hushes. Grayson steps in before Jake can even react. "Are you kidding me?" he hisses, grabbing Jake by the arm and dragging him toward the service station. "That's coming out of your paycheck. Do you understand?" Jake straightens, nodding. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry." His voice is calm, but Daniel catches the way his fingers tighten around the tray, his knuckles white. Grayson scoffs. Pathetic. He strides away, leaving Jake to clean up the mess. Daniel grips the mop handle tightly, his jaw set. He's seen enough. This isn't just about an overworked waiter. It's about a system that grinds down the good ones and rewards the wrong people. And Daniel Carter has never been one to stand by and watch. The dinner rush fades, but the exhaustion lingers. Jake's shoulders slump as he wipes down the last table, his movements slow, mechanical. Across the room, Grayson leans against the bar, scrolling through his phone unconcerned, like he hadn't just humiliated his hardest-working employee in front of an entire dining room. Daniel, still in disguise as Derek, watches from the corner. Every instinct in him itches to act, but he forces himself to wait. Tonight isn't just about stepping in, it's about understanding. Jake exhales and tosses the rag into a nearby bin. He reaches for his jacket, ready to leave, when Grayson's voice slices through the quiet. "Not so fast." Jake freezes. His fingers tighten around the fabric of his worn-out jacket. Grayson saunters over, smirking. "You forgot something." He points toward the kitchen, toward a stack of dirty dishes piled high in the sink. Jake's lips part in protest but quickly shut. He nods. "I'll take care of it." Daniel sees it, the defeat in Jake's eyes, the way his dreams have been slowly chipped away, one unfair demand at a time. "Enough." Daniel steps forward. "I'll do it." His voice is steady, his grip on the mop handle firm. Jake turns, startled. "Derek, you don't have to." "I got it," Daniel insists. This is his moment to send a message, to test Jake's heart. Grayson scoffs. "Didn't realize we had a charity case here." He sneers at Daniel, then turns to Jake. "Clock out. And don't be late tomorrow." Jake hesitates before nodding. As he steps outside, Daniel follows. The night air is crisp, carrying the faint scent of rain. Jake rubs his hands together for warmth, staring at the dim glow of the streetlights. "Why do you let him treat you like that?" Daniel's voice is quiet, but firm. Jake huffs out a tired laugh. "Because I need this job. My mom's medical bills aren't going to pay themselves." He shrugs, stuffing his hands into his pockets. "Besides, I'm nobody." Grayson knows that. Daniel studies him, the resilience in his posture, the quiet strength beneath the weariness. "You're not nobody," Daniel says. Jake chuckles. "Easy for you to say." Daniel just smiles. "Get some rest, Jake." As Jake walks off, Daniel pulls out his phone. It's time to make a call. Tomorrow, everything changes. The next evening, La Belle Maison buzzes with its usual chaos, but there's an undercurrent of unease. A row of luxury cars lines the curb outside, their sleek exteriors glinting under the golden glow of the streetlights. The staff exchanges wary glances. Important people don't show up unannounced, not here. Jake is too busy to notice. He moves between tables with practiced ease, his exhaustion hidden behind a polite smile. But when he turns toward the entrance, his steps falter. Daniel Carter walks in, not as Derek, the janitor, but as himself. The air shifts. Grayson straightens, confusion flickering across his face. The waitstaff whisper, their eyes darting between Daniel's crisp designer suit and the man who just yesterday mopped their floors. Jake stiffens. The realization slams into him. He looks at Daniel, really looks at him, his breath hitching. Daniel offers a small smile. "Hey, Jake." Grayson rushes forward. "Mr. Carter, we had no idea you were visiting tonight." His voice oozes with forced enthusiasm. The same man who sneered at Daniel as a lowly janitor now fawns over him like royalty. Daniel's expression remains unreadable. He gestures to the dining room. "This is how you run my restaurant." Silence. Jake's pulse pounds. His eyes dart to the staff, the same people who ignored his struggles, who let Grayson belittle him without a word. Now they all wait, terrified, expectant. Daniel turns to Jake. "You work hard, show up every day, and take care of people. But who's taking care of you?" Jake swallows hard. "I don't." Daniel cuts him off, his voice warm but firm. "You deserve better." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small set of keys. Jake blinks. The world tilts. "This is yours." Daniel gestures toward the curb, where a gleaming black Mercedes-Benz sits. "I heard about your mom. Thought this might help." A stunned silence grips the restaurant. Jake's hands tremble as he stares at the keys. His throat tightens. Grayson, pale and sweating, forces out a laugh. "That's very generous, Mr. Carter." Daniel's gaze turns sharp. "And you, Grayson, you humiliated him, underpaid him, made him stay late while you did nothing." His voice is calm, but the weight of it crushes the air. Grayson's mouth opens, then shuts. "I don't run my businesses like that," Daniel says coldly. "You're fired." A choked gasp ripples through the staff. Grayson stammers, but no words come. Jake exhales, a mix of disbelief and raw emotion. His grip tightens around the keys. His life has changed in an instant. Daniel claps a hand on his shoulder. This is just the beginning. Jake, for the first time in years, lets himself believe it. The tension in La Belle Maison lingers like an unshaken storm. Grayson is gone, but his absence is a ghost in the air. The staff, still reeling, moves cautiously, their stolen glances darting between Daniel and Jake. Jake grips the cool metal of the car keys in his palm, his breath shallow. "I don't know what to say." Daniel chuckles. "A thank you works." Jake exhales a disbelieving laugh. "Thank you." But the words feel small compared to the weight of this moment. He isn't just grateful, he's overwhelmed, undone. Daniel nods. "You've earned this, Jake. You didn't let the world harden you." His gaze flickers with something knowing. Not everyone has that strength. From behind the bar, a server hesitantly steps forward. "Jake." Her voice wavers. "I should have spoken up." A few others murmur in agreement, guilt clouding their faces. They weren't the ones who hurt Jake, but they allowed it. Jake studies them. The old him might have shrugged it off, let it go. But not today. Today, he chooses truth. "You should have," he says, not unkindly. "But that doesn't mean you can't do better now." A weight seems to lift in the room. Change is coming, and it starts here. Daniel claps a hand on Jake's shoulder. "Speaking of doing better, I need a new restaurant manager. Someone I can trust." Jake's brows furrow. The offer punches the air from his lungs. "Me." "You," Daniel confirms. "What do you say?" Jake swallows. He's spent years believing he was invisible. But now, the most powerful man in the room sees him. A slow, genuine smile stretches across his face. "I say, I'll need to buy a suit." Laughter ripples through the restaurant. Outside, the night is crisp, the city alive with its usual rhythm. But to Jake, everything feels different. Lighter. Open. Possible. He steps toward his new car, his reflection shimmering against the sleek black surface. The boy who once walked home in the cold, unseen and unappreciated, is gone. In his place stands a man who fought, endured, and won. Jake exhales, looking back at Daniel, who watches with quiet approval. He doesn't just see a boss, he sees a friend. Sliding into the driver's seat, Jake grips the wheel, his future finally in his hands. He starts the engine. and drives toward something new.